not been probably not been too pleasant. And it appears that even going back even further, Steven Crowder has sort of been in rough straits. I know he had the surgery or some shit a while ago too. Things not going wonderfully for Steven. Of course, I think it was I want to say Thursday night, maybe. There has just been so much good drama lately between the Cumia Seller stuff, and then Dave Landau going on Michael Malice's show and just unloading about what goes on at Louder with Crowder. And then all of a sudden, I don't want to call this good drama because it actually sounds like this woman was in a pretty shitty situation, married to this guy. But the Landau video, first of all, I find Dave Landau to be fucking delightful. I think he is one of the funniest and most underappreciated people in comedy. I'm a fan. I love a good mass shooting joke, and he really just slides those in to conversation where you don't think you're going to find them. So that alone puts me on Dave Landau's side. He basically said that Steven Crowder is the biggest douchebag in the world to work for. And obviously you're only getting one side of the situation, but he said a lot of things about the light, of course, was a big one, that there was a rant light, that when Steven was talking, they would put this light on so Dave couldn't inject a joke. And they were treating him, almost like an associate producer or a junior producer. They were like, you'd have to have desk hours and you're going to be right. Like all this kind of shit that a guy that you would hire to make wisecracks and provide the lighter side of things. Like when Crowder's going off on his rant about how whatever, men who dress like women are going to fucking turn our kids into homosexuals or whatever it is that he gets into an uproar about. You'd have Dave Landau there to throw a joke in, break the tension, remind people that they're supposed to be doing kind of a fun show. And it's very hard to be fun and be funny and crack jokes if you're in a room with someone who's treating you like a complete fucking asshole, because making jokes involves taking some kind of risk, right? You're trying to say something funny and it may not land. So there has to be some degree of trust between you and the people that you're working with. And it doesn't sound like Steven Crowder was providing that or doing that or creating an environment where you could have a good, fun show. I guess he claims to be a stand-up. I don't know if I've never found him that funny. I kind of I always like an antagonist is always entertaining to me in media. So I guess on that level, sometimes when he would rile up campus douches or whatever, I always appreciate that kind of stuff. But they talk about him being a stand-up and I don't know, yeah, well, you got the mug club. Oh, cool. It's the mug club. All right. I don't fucking know. All right. You get the mug club. Why don't you get a fucking army or something? But that was that. And, I guess Landau's leaving. I guess he's going to the Blaze. So that's cool. Then a few days later, this video comes out of Crowder explaining that he's getting divorced because in Texas, I think it's Texas. He doesn't agree with the law that says if your wife doesn't want to be married to you, she doesn't have to be married to you anymore. He finds flaw in that. I think Steven Crowder understands marriage, and we'll see that when we watch the video in a second here. Steven Crowder understands to be marriage is the possessing of a woman by a man. It appears to be what's going on. So let's go to the videotape. Go back to the beginning. So this appears to be the Crowder's backyard, I guess. Very nice. I would love a backyard like that. You could do you work out back here, you lounge in here. This is a beautiful backyard. It's nice. What I like about it is this big white box thing here you can use for many things. One, kids are playing wiffle ball. It stops the wiffle ball from coming into here, right? The shield bounces off there. Two, you want to sit out on your patio and get your cock sucked. Great spot to do that. You get all the advantages of fresh air and a blowjob without anyone being able to look in. Very, very useful. Three, works as sort of a projector TV screen. So if you want to do a little outdoor movie or if there's a game on or whatever, you just pop that up there. So beautiful setup here at the Crowder house. I love what they're up to. Apparently they did spend all of their money on this sweet patio setup because they only have one car. And that appears to be the crux of the argument here. So let's, I'll set, the argument is Steven's, well, it's not just the car. There are a number of things. Steven's very pregnant wife here has apparently failed in her wifely duties, according to Steven. She's supposed to be grocery shopping. She's supposed to be giving the dog a pill, taking him for a walk, while about, that looks like 8 months pregnant or so. And all of this because Steven, as you might be able to see, has this is his time to sit around outside on the patio in socks, by the way. That's how you know. That's how you know someone is just a complete fucking lunatic, is if they're hanging out on the patio in fucking mid-calf athletic socks. That is the sign of a bona fide fucking psychopath. But this is his time to smoke a cigar. This is Steven's time to unwind and smoke a cigar in the middle of the day while his pregnant wife, works around the house. As you would expect.
You just made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either. Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Steven.
The only way out of it is discipline and respect.
So he just said the only way out of this, they're having this argument about, I guess, scheduling, whatever, and he let out that sort of high-pitched whine, which I found, that was like, either. I mean, that's the way like a teenager or a guy in his early 20s argues with his girlfriend, by the way. Steven's about my age. And then he says the only way out of this is discipline and respect, which is just a monumentally douchey line. That's like the kind of thing, a guy who says that's like a guy who gets his marital advice from like those TikTok relationship channels where it's just like clips of like a fucking, a Gen Zer or a younger millennial in front of a podcast setup, and they're like making a lot of hand motions and like kind of chopping it up, letting you know what's what, like, and they're giving marriage advice. They've never been married before, because they're 25 years old, but they're giving the marriage advice. They're like, you got to understand, the modern woman wants to be told what to do, and it's up to you as the man to tell her, and that's discipline and respect will get you there. Like, that's the kind of thing, that's what it sounds like coming out of Steven Crowder.
It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impact.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up, Steven.
You give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you.
This whole discipline and respect, you give up so easy. Discipline and respect. This sounds like if you ever watch Hard Knocks, when the team has like a bad day of practice and the coach is walking around the big room, and like every football coach has like those kind of like, quotes they like to put up. Like, I coached for a team once where the word was finish. Everything was about fit, right? You finish the rep, yeah, you finish the series, finish the run, finish, practice, block downfield. Football is very much a sport about playing through the end of the whistle. You finish, discipline and respect would be like, that would be, you could see a bunch of high school kids walking around, t-shirt, and they got their jeans on, backpack, and they got their fucking, Polk High discipline and respect 2023 t-shirts on. It's a very high school football saying there.
But Steven, you're a beast. He's sick.
Watch it.
He's sick.
Watch it.
Can you imagine being the kind of man who tells his massively pregnant wife to watch it, and says it twice, and in a very subtly menacing manner, like leaning back, smoking a cigar, fucking legs crossed, and just saying, watch it. Like that feels like before every murder-suicide that shows up on the cover of the New York Post, where it's one of these families that's like, they have the nice house, and then it's a picture of the family in set, and like it'll say over the top like gruesome scene in bucolic like, or whatever the fuck, and they'll like go in to describe how a family of 4 was found shot to death in their beautiful suburban home. All died by gunshot wounds to the head. The father killed himself last, believed to be a suicide. The marital troubles. He was having a hard time at work. She was 8 months pregnant. And like, this is the kind of footage that would come out from that.
Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. You need to just stop engaging for a little bit. Okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you.
This is, by the way she's talking is very much like, as if she's trying to back away from a dog that might attack, right? Like if like the door is right there and she's just trying to like get to the door, like you can get to the door and then you can close it, and then there will be a little standoff here, and then the dog can't get you. Like she looks like she's talking to a somewhat angry animal.
Big bucket. I've never received love from you, and the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, just be disciplined about it. You go, no, but I love you more than life itself. Okay, put on some gloves. No, but I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're.
Well, what Steven is saying, for those of you who don't understand, so there's a pill that the dog needs that is apparently not good for pregnant women, and he's saying that if you loved me, saying first of all, he's telling her that he doesn't love her because he feels that she doesn't actually love him, because she won't, in her pregnant state, risk poisoning their unborn child by handling this pill. So that is proof that she does not truly love him.
Right then. Become someone who's you, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not.
And that's a wife worthy. That is very. We started the show with a trad wife on the screen, and that is very big in the conservative community right now. They love the whole trad wife thing, which, I think in the old days, you had to kind of be a trad, there was sort of a necessity to it, to get all the shit done. Now there are amenities and services out there, like the Crowders don't need to grocery shop. They can get shit delivered. Like, I make a slim fraction of what Steven Crowder makes, and I have most shit just delivered to my apartment. I go out, I grocery shop on my own because I like to get out, amongst the people. It's ShopRite in Hoboken, a lot of hot chicks walking around there. I might run into like friends or whatever. It's a good, you get out, stretch your legs, fresh air. But you don't have to. You don't have to grocery shop anymore. People pick that shit up for you. This guy, it feels like he wants his wife doing stuff like that because he wants the image. He wants I think to him there is status in having your wife do this stuff for you. I think he does derive some of his masculinity from that. Yeah. And like I get like if you have a chick who's like a willing trad wife and she's all about that and like she's like, "Hey, yeah, go out, make the money. I will keep the house. When you get home, there will be a martini and a blowjob waiting for you." Like great situation to be in, but you also have to understand that like during a pregnancy, even if you have the perfect trad wife situation, during a pregnancy, you might have to flex a little bit on that. Like you can't just put your fucking feet up like your Dick Van Dyke or whoever, fucking Ward Cleaver coming in from a hard day at work. You want to sit down and be serviced by your pregnant wife.
As a wife, I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage anymore. I'm going to go. I'll text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
Are you committed enough to do those things?
And now I love that. Now he's getting into a somewhat aggressive stance. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to put on some gloves? Again, he is obsessed with having her handle this pill.
I'm not going to.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to you. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
This really does sound like he's a fucking high school wrestling coach or some shit. Are you committed enough? You say you want to win the championship. You're committed enough to be here at 6 a.m. every day when you'd rather be in bed. Do those things.
Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm going to
walk the dogs. Put on some gloves.
Why? And also, I mean, look at the size of that dog. That's a big dog. She's like 8 months fucking pregnant, and he's making her walk the big dog. Do you know what happens if a dog that size being walked by a pregnant woman, if it sees like a squirrel or some shit and it decides to take off and go after it, and she just gets fucking yanked and lands on her fucking bed, she's gonna pop. It's gonna be like fucking Gallagher hitting a fucking watermelon with a sledgehammer. It's just gonna go, and you're fucking, your what would have been your infant son will be fired out. It'll be launched across the street. The fucking umbilical cord's gonna get wrapped around a stoplight. It's gonna be hideous. Our neighbor's gonna have to come over with gardening shears and clip it. You have to rush it to the ICU.
Are you committed enough to get the medication as well? No, you take that in.
And then it says, as the Crowders head inside, Steven gets angrier and angrier, and by his own admission screams, "I will fuck you up," at his pregnant wife, Hillary, who then flees their home. Yeah, what this guy is, he just seems like a complete douchebag. The thing about this is, first, I like this. My wife, OBGYN told my wife to keep doing everything normal till birth. Yeah, I know you can. Like, I know that is possible. Like, I'm well aware that, humans, the species, have made it. We've, been here for eons, and that women have survived through very grueling situations while pregnant. But there is something about being a husband, being a partner, being a man, and fucking helping out your pregnant wife. Like it has more to do with like a respect for your family and a respect for the fact that she's carrying your future child. And that, you're saying, look, we're a team here. I got you while you're going through this. You're carrying the baby. I can carry the groceries. And also, he was he was instructing her. I think that video cut it off, but what he was instructing her to do was to pick up, I think, steaks and pellets for his grill. Like, so he's sitting there smoking a cigar and he's demanding that she pick up steaks and pellets for the grill. It's like, dude, everyone knows that you're worth fuckloads of money. And if, you know, I know those estimates are always kind of overshot, but even if you're worth a fraction of what people think you're worth, you can afford to have Traeger grill pellets and a couple steaks delivered. I mean, there are companies that specifically do those things. Also, you're Steven Crowder, like you're popular in places where grill pellets and steaks are like staple items. Like you can probably get someone to help you out without verbally abusing your pregnant wife and making her feel unsafe in her own home. And I've always kind of, I've always felt that Crowder was kind of a douche since his Rogan appearance when he got really bent out of shape about legalizing marijuana. Like it was, and his entire argument against it was just, I don't like it, therefore people shouldn't be allowed to use it. Like that was the crux of it. I was like, this guy is, it's always curious how you watch these shows and you see, you know, who's sort of made it to the top. And you're like, a lot of very useless people are very successful. He's worth money because he doesn't waste it on delivery and second cars. Yeah, that's it. He's that's it. It is possible that Steven Crowder is just a big Dave Ramsey guy, and I've got this all wrong, and that we need to get his wife on the envelope system, and then she'll understand. But yeah, he seems like this kind of behavior, like this doesn't just happen once. Like that wasn't a guy the first time that he's behaved like that. That was very much, you're watching the video and you're like, oh, this is his personality. Like that is his private personality seeping through. And then you hear what other people are saying about him. And you're like, oh yeah, it lines up. And this guy is, it seems like he's kind of a douchebag, if we're being totally honest. So good luck, good luck, Steven. Moving on to our next story here. This one really disgusts me. If verbally abusing your pregnant wife is disgusting, this might actually be worse.